I'm the director of Nicholas Roerich Museum in New York. Well, Nicholas Roerich was a Russian artist who came out of Russia after the revolution, and he had very specific ideas about the role of art and beauty. He was not unique in that. It was quite common at the time, this notion that beauty would save the world. And he was quite committed to that. So by extending that to a larger sphere, he promoted the idea that the cultural product of humanity, all the creative product of humanity, is so often destroyed by humanity, and that the world had to do something to preserve the cultural heritage of all countries, which would, of course, require that we respect the cultural heritage of all countries, and that would be a great peacemaker. Peace would preserve the cultural traditions of all countries, and in the opposite way, the cultural respect would promote peace. It's really quite awful everywhere. For example, after the invasion of Iraq, when soldiers were making sandbags filled with dirt, millions of sandbags, every spoonful, every shovelful had archaeological treasures that went into sandbags. The archaeologists of the world were horrified. That's one current example of the efforts that are needed to preserve the cultural traditions and heritage. Roerich also believed very fervently that it was the task of the creative people of the world, the artists and thinkers, to bring peace, that most people didn't know how or didn't have the values to do it, but that the creative people had that responsibility. I don't know how much creative people nowadays think of that as their responsibility, but it was very clearly part of his thinking. When Roerich came into the West after the revolution, he acquired a following very quickly, and that following exists today. Even though he died in 1947, there are people all over the world who value him and value his paintings and value the traditions and the ideas that he promoted. And this museum stands as a kind of beacon for all of that, and also a destination place for people who come to New York who know about Roerich and about his ideas. Peace and beauty go hand in hand, and it's something people don't think about enough. That when you create beauty, you are also building peace. In order to promote the idea, to put it into actual action, of preserving the cultural heritage of all nations, Roerich created a pact, a treaty, that would be signed by as many countries as possible, committing them to the principles of the pact, to protect the cultural heritage, the intellectual heritage, the scientific heritage of all nations during time of peace and of war. An important part of that pact was a banner that was created it's nowadays called the Banner of Peace. that would be flown by all institutions that subscribe to the principles of the treaty. And that banner, in the same way that the Red Cross used to protect hospitals and other institutions just by putting the banner on their roofs or on their property, this banner would do the same for cultural purposes. And the world has changed, of course. You cannot protect a building in a city when you're bombing a whole city. But the principle is there, and it has great power for a lot of people. And to many people all over the world, the Roerich Banner of Peace is the one symbol of